we're getting into a world where no matter what kind of art you do, whether it's film or music or writing or it's just so much easier now to reach an audience, to find, to put it out yourself. And I think with that comes the benefit of, I mean, there's challenges, of course, like you said, you got to pay for editing yourself. Like there's other things, but I think, the ability to retain all the rights, you have all the creative freedom is yours, and you can just, put out your art, whatever it is, on your own. I think that's really attractive to a lot of people right now, for sure.
Hmm.
I mean, even Brandon Sanderson's a great example. He's traditionally published, but then he put out all the secret projects, and those are all self-published. So even the famous authors, like the big guys, they're moving the same direction.
Hmm. Yeah, the market's changing, so
Yeah.
one of the
I
advantages of it.
he just did a podcast with his wife where they talked about the origin of Dragon Steel,
Hmm.
and they said in there part of the reason they did what they did was to have that creative freedom and publish it themselves. And they were like, it was harder to do, but now they're in control of it.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's cool. So what was your experience doing Kickstarter? Like, how'd that go for you?
It actually honestly went a lot smoother than I expected. There were definitely a couple bumps along the road that I will be able to overcome better for the next one because I do plan on doing book two through Kickstarter. Um, but it was a great thing to do. I funded my book, and honestly, the main point with this one because I had already paid for everything for my first book, so I wanted to get this one ready to pay for the editing for the next book. Um, Pretty user friendly. The only thing that, if people want to do Kickstarter, I would just say make sure you have a lot of time ahead to plan for it and reach out to other people that have had success. Um, I basically based my page template on another author's page that he and I just talked a lot about his Kickstarter, and he just lent me a ton of resources, told me things that he liked with it, and I just think it's a really cool thing. I would in the future like to have a little more time to fund. I gave my backers like 2 weeks, but I got it out to them pretty soon. I think almost everyone has their copy by now, which is different. I had my book completely ready and I planned on, I mean, ended on release day. And then there's some authors that, there's like, especially deluxe editions, those take a lot more time to produce. So those are months out. But I thought it was a good way to get my first book a lot of attention. And I mean, very plainly speaking, if you look at it from a sales point, I made 116 sales if you
Hmm.
count, all those backers first, which is really good. For an indie debut. And the only thing is that, when I look at a lot of other authors that are having a lot more sales up front on Amazon and things like that, that is one thing that I didn't receive because most of the people that are excited for my book got it through Kickstarter. But it's just a great way that I think to get people excited for a book.
Hmm.
If I see someone releasing a novel and it's just like they throw it out on Amazon, I'm more likely to back a Kickstarter when they throw it out there when I see a lot of people giving it a lot of attention. And I'm a sucker for, cheap goodies. If someone's like, okay, here, if we reach this stretch goal, we'll put on illustrations. So that's what I did with it. And because this was my first novel, I made it pretty simple.
Hmm.
But I do plan on like future ones. If I can get more backers, I'd love to do cool things like adding like minis, miniature figures, or dice, or things to go along with the book because I think that people like that exclusivity
Hmm.
and just to feel that they're a part of something when they donate to Kickstarter. They're not just buying it, but they're buying into the author's dream.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think people, I backed a few Kickstarter. I backed one recently for someone putting out that's doing a comic book, and yeah, I think people want to support indie people. They want to be a part of something, and they want to be involved in they can say, I was a part of that person's journey, or and on top of that, they can get some really cool stuff,
Hmm.
you know.